Welcome back to the Jocks of All Trades podcast. I am Brad, joined by
Kyle.
And tonight we have a special episode for you.
Jocks of All Trades. Jocks of All Trades.
All right, welcome back, Jocks of All Trades Nation. I'm so pleased to be with you tonight and to have the chance to introduce our guest, Jason Poeth. He is a molder of men, if you will. You can see all the Alabama stuff on his screen. He's the associate strength and conditioning coach at Alabama and has been since 2013. He was also with LSU prior to that. I actually have a question about that later. I'm not really sure when he started, but I think he'll tell us. He has obviously accomplished a lot, and I'm sure he'll shed some light on that. But yeah, thank you so much for hopping on this pod, man. Super excited.
Absolutely.
How you doing?
Doing phenomenal. How y'all?
We are
Great.
good.
I'm living.
I'm just trying to text my dad the link because he wants to watch it. So he's being a little bit of. Oh, he got it. We're good.
Nice.
So, first question here: could you describe your start, your career path, and how you got to where you are today?
Man, it's kind of a long road, but I guess we could try to do the abbreviated version. After graduating, actually before graduating Messiah College, I always was. You always knew I wanted to stay in sports. I always knew I wanted to stay in sports. Just didn't know how, with it. So I thought I wanted to get into sports medicine, and that's why I went to Messiah College. We had a phenomenal sports medicine department there, and kind of got in there and started doing some of my clinical hours. And I realized, nothing against ATCs, they do a phenomenal job. They're much needed. I just realized how boring it was. I sat around, I was waiting for guys to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there goes one, all right. And so I was like, man, I can't do this, this is not it. I thought maybe maybe PT. So I started, pushing my career path more towards the PT, realm. I started doing clinical hours there. When my first one was with a geriatric population, and again, nothing against that. It just wasn't the route I wanted to go, and I wanted to stay more into sports, and I think what I saw there is I was like, I just don't know about physical therapy. So I was kind of confused with what I wanted to do. That had a good friend of mine who was actually the athletic director at Bucknell said, why don't you spend a little time with Coach Fike? And I said, who's Coach Fike? He's like, he's a strength conditioning coach. I was like, what is that? And that was it, man. Within 10 minutes, I was like, this is what I want to do. I wanted to be a strength conditioning coach. And so I just, I did everything that I possibly could to study and learn and, work. And, coaching is like playing basketball. You got to get your reps in. You got to get your shots in. You got to coach a lot, to get better at it and develop your skills and study and learn science, and obviously go through school and, grad school and things like that for exercise physiology and stuff. But, doing internships and working for free a lot. I worked for free a lot. Slept in, like, the whole story. Slept in my car, slept in gyms, didn't have a place to stay for a while, and slowly, work that up. I know, Jeffrey, and Jeffrey's visited me a few times and seen the places I've been and stayed and stuff like that. I'm sure he's kind of was shocked and awed, but after Messiah and after some internships, I landed with a job at Rutgers University, and I was there for a year, and we turned around. We're in the Big East back then, and we were not good. We were not good. We beat Syracuse 23. This is 98 or 99, 23-20 in overtime. That was the only win we had.
Oh, man.
It was a horrible season, to be in. That was my first real season in college football. But we played University of Miami in Miami. And so Tommy Moffitt was at that time and he still is, the GOAT, in strength and conditioning. And he was at Miami, and I knew who he was. And before the game, I made sure to sorry if I swear by accident.
okay.
I swear a lot. It's kind of like the Ron guys all day, and they swear, I swear. And so I just caught myself there. So I just know in the future, if I don't, But so
Okay.
I just annoyed the crap out of him. Before the game, I found him after the game. Annoyed him, and we went back. I knew that I had a feeling that staff wasn't going to be there very much longer, and so I called him. I emailed the man, and he finally disappeared, and nobody knew where he went. And he popped up at LSU with Coach Saban, and so I called him and I emailed him again, and any positions, and he called back and he said, "Listen, I don't have any paid positions for you, but you can do an internship." I was like, and I was getting paid at Rutgers, and I really wanted to go to LSU, but I had to make money, and I really wanted to get my master's degree. And I said, "Man, Coach, I can't do it. I really appreciate it, And so I don't know if like another GA or something like that fell through, but he called me back a few days later and said, "Listen, you can have a GA position open if you can get into school." And so I said, "Well, what do I need to do?" And he said, "Well, you need to get your transcripts for undergrad, and you need to take a GRE." And I said, "What's the GRE?" And I know I want to go to grad school, but I didn't know all the ins and outs. So, graduate entrance exam. I said, "Oh, geez, okay." So I literally, I think I enrolled for it on Tuesday, and I took it on a Thursday, and I had literally no idea what this thing was.
Oh my
I did horribly, but I did well enough to get into LSU, and so I went down there, started my. GA. I spent 2 seasons there, worked with Coach Moffitt and Coach Saban, and that was incredible. It was absolutely life changing as far as when I was at Rutgers. You all work hard in college football. A lot of people work hard. But when I went to LSU, say we worked 70 hours a week, I might work 75 at LSU, but the intensity of it, the attention to detail, it was just none other. You know what I'm saying? And everybody had a job and a very defined role. You know what I'm saying? What they were doing, what they were supposed to do, at any point of the day and things like that. And it was just, like I said, the attention to detail and what Coach says, the process, that changed how I looked at everything moving forward in the way I coached, the way how I taught was very progression. Like you read or something like that. When you develop the process of teaching anything for an athlete, and so there were real formidable times. I left LSU. I spent 11 years running a gym and business in Mobile, Alabama, and working in high schools, doing high school strength conditioning. I was an Olympic weightlifting coach for a long time. Work with track and field athletes a lot, combine athletes, pro athletes, and had some pretty good success there in Mobile. I knew I wanted to get back into college football. I thought it would be quick and easy when I wanted to get back in, and it wasn't. It wasn't there. It took a little time and perseverance. And Scott Cochran was the head strength coach at Alabama at the time, and he and I were really good friends at LSU, and so we kept in touch over the years. And I think a couple times he might have tried to hire me for low level positions, but the money wasn't right at the time. And so finally, I took him up on it, and got in there and started working with Olympic sports. Started also working with football, combine guys, guys come in for the leave and get ready for the NFL draft or pro day or whatever it would be, different responsibilities of that. Track and field is one of my responsibilities, working with our sprinters and things like that. And there, when Coach Cochran left, that eventually they moved me up to just football, and I got rid of, track and field. So I've been doing that now for a while. Miss those sports though, man. That's you get your reps in, you get your, what I'm saying? You got to shoot, you got to practice. And so I do miss those reps, with it. But now just completely, dedicated towards that. But I've been doing this, I guess now, 20 some years. I think I've been coaching since about some way, shape, or form since about 1997. So coming on, it's a pretty good chunk of time. It's crazy.
Well, no wonder
If I
these
look if I look in the camera, I can see the gray, and I start realizing like, wow, it has been a while.
Well, no wonder these Alabama guys are so jacked. If you've been coaching the last 25 years, man, that's a lot of
That's a lot of
experience.
time.
A
Yeah.
lot of time. So you said Mobile. Were you a part of like the Senior Bowl at all? I think the Senior Bowl is in Mobile.
Yeah, Senior Bowl is in Mobile.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of people to put it on.
Yeah.
Down there. Senior Bowl is a great thing. I knew, a lot of sponsors. We went a lot, to Senior Bowl down there. Have a business partner that sponsors the Senior Bowl with it, so we'd always go. And Senior Bowl is a great thing. Right around Mardi Gras. So I mean, it's a lot of wonderful partying.
Yeah.
There's football and beads and all kinds of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So,
That's awesome.
So could you describe your like day-to-day job at Alabama for people that maybe don't? I guess us too. I don't know what all you do, but could you describe what you do on a day-to-day basis?
oh man, so strength conditioning coach. I mean, it depends. It depends on the season. It depends on the time. The year. So, like right now, get up at 4:30 and usually try to be in the gym about 5:10. We get workouts at 6:30. So we'll set up the weight room. We'll meet. We'll talk about what we're going to do for the day. Athletes that may have individual needs or how we adjust workouts for them and things like that. We'll meet as a staff and talk about what we're going to do throughout the day right there. We had 3 lift groups today, usually divided up about 50, 55, per group. Right now, obviously a little bit less because about 120 someone on the roster with our walk-ons included and stuff. So, so we turn around and divide it up and work with our guys, as far as taking through workouts. Let's see, tomorrow will be day of practice, so, we won't have a workout and things like that. So we're in spring ball right now. And so that's, it's a little different than the different times of the year. In the summertime, we'll have like June. June is a beast. Okay. So like we'll have workouts, we'll have little kids camps, and there'll be sometimes 1,400 little kids
Oh my gosh.
out there. So we'll go in the morning, we'll train 2 groups, we'll run outside, set up all the testing equipment, and these kids are like all turn around, they'll get their verticals and their 40s and their 5, 10, 5s, and we're all responsible for that. You know what I'm saying? So they get all that done, the testing done before they go, and then they'll meet the coaches and meet and stuff like that, but come back. And then we'll take it through a running program, like 1,400 little kids at one time. Yeah, it's a freaking, it's a machine. And so we have a lot of coaches, obviously, to help that out. So we'll do that. And then when we're done with we have a little break, we'll run inside and we'll train, our next groups. And then we'll back outside for camp. And then we have 7-on-7 at night with the guys. And it's so like, so June is a beast, and that's a month I think that every coach hates, and so it's a little different there. We'll do warm-ups before practice. You know what I'm saying? We have injured guys. We'll train them during practice. So it's just different things like that as far as the action. Now, the kind of the boring stuff is the nerd stuff, is looking at guys and saying, anywhere through, we do like say velocity-based training, which is like a camera system that'll measure bar speed and different things like that. We'll do different testing to catch imbalances on guys, right leg, left leg, hamstring, quad, different things like that. And then we have to create individualized programming for these guys. Because if we do the same thing for everybody, like you have a wide receiver and you just do the same thing with wide receivers that all of us wide receivers do, you could have a real issue, say, with a guy on a hamstring, and another guy with a quad. Well, you treat them the same thing, you're going to screw both of them up. So you got to find out in a small way of what at a higher level you go up in high school. You just need to probably get, focus on technique, get stronger, get faster, things like that. As a college, you really start to individualize. You get the NFL, it's very individualized. You know what I'm saying? The higher up you go based upon your needs, in the NFL, your age, you know what I'm saying? Position, not just position, people say position specific or sport specific training, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's more individually specific training. Is
That's
what
cool.
we're trying to focus on, there. And we have a lot of metrics, a lot of variables that we look at. And I'll stare at, oh man, 20, 30,000 lines of data all the time,
Oh
just
my
like looking at
gosh.
key points and things like that. Yeah, that people don't think about that as strength and conditioning. And then we got all kinds of guys. I'll look at one thing, and you, Kyle, you'll be looking at another thing, and Brad, you'll be looking at another thing, because it's just that much data and that much
Right.
stuff looking out. And then we come together and we talk about what we're seeing, you know what I'm saying? And then we have, we put guys into buckets, you know what I'm saying? This guy has a hamstring, this guy has a this, or this guy has a that, an eccentric issue, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever it would be, you know what I'm saying? We put them in there, and then, Coach Blue and everybody decides, how we're going to attack this weakness right there. So that's what we, do and get after. That's the kind of like I said, the nerd aspect of it, but everything is measured, and training hasn't changed a ton in 20 years. The technology of testing has. And we're able to test athletes and like a diagnostic test is really quick. Boom, you got this. You know what I'm saying? And then that's nice too, because we can measure it. We can measure change, and it's a lot of times very live feedback for athletes, and they get competitive too. You know what I'm saying? Whether we're tracking power, you know what I'm saying, or power gains or whatever it would be. And so it's good, and that has changed a lot in 20 years, and it's going to continue to change. So it is.
And so what all you just described there about the data is that how you guys collectively come up with a plan on how to get guys at a certain weight or a certain,
I was wondering about that.
like, how do you come up with that? Like, oh, this guy needs to gain like 30 pounds, or this guy's like 170 for a corner. We need him to gain 20 pounds of muscle, but
Yeah,
maybe he's not at
that's
like
more.
the exact
That's
speed.
more. Right, that's more the coaches
Okay.
and Coach Saban, you know what I'm saying? Say if you're a corner, maybe a corners coach and Coach Saban, running the defense and things like that, looking at guys and going, need
Yeah.
to gain 10, need to lose, whatever it would be. And then, they work very strong. We work hand in hand with our nutritionists, and we're really blessed to where we don't create a program for them, nutrition wise. A lot of smaller schools
Okay.
have to, and we don't have to do that. We have, Miss Amy Bragg that heads up our nutrition, and she handles that, and her staff does an amazing job on working with our athletes, whether to gain or whether to lose.
Okay.
So they have apps on their phone where they track everything and calories and meals, and they can order the food they need, and they can
Wow.
have it all ready. And it's pretty crazy stuff that what
That's
they
unreal.
can do with it to individualize not
Yeah.
just training, but individualize what they're eating, and things
Yeah.
like that. So
I think Chip Kelly tracked people's sleep at Oregon. Then he went to Philly. He tracked people's sleep habits. Is that something they do too, or not really?
we did, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We did. With it, we tried different sleep pads. We tried different like, Whoop, or even the Apple Watch is really good. The
Yeah.
only problem is you eventually have to charge it.
Right.
Somebody's just getting guys. There's only so much. First of all, there's only so much I think you could throw at a kid.
Yeah.
And you got to remember they're 18, and
Yeah.
now they're going to class, they're studying harder, they're in college, they're studying harder than they ever studied, right? The workouts are more workouts. The playbook is now this thick when it used to be like maybe that thick, you know what I'm saying? And they're watching film and they're in meetings and they got to go to so many meals and they got to go to workouts and then they got to lose weight or gain weight or whatever it is, and they got to track the meals, and now they got to like hit this sleep study thing, and it's just so
A
much.
lot.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we had is just just getting guys to make sure they did it and do it consistently, so the data and the study is clean, on them and stuff like that. We did a few years ago. We haven't done anything with sleep, I don't think, in a while. Now, some guys will do sleep studies to see if there's issues, stuff like that. But tracking sleep, we haven't done it. We've tracked heart rate variability before, which is a big one, and people. We started doing heart rate variability before. I think heart rate variability was really cool, and now heart rate variability is a very key metric in recovery and fatigue and stuff like that. Your Apple Watch will have a baseline heart rate variability and things like that on it. We did that years ago, so now that's there. So a lot of your stuff too now, your watch is so key on it that I can see us going back to that maybe eventually someday. I don't know.
Yeah. What's been the most difficult part about your job? Maybe something that us fans don't really know. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be data collection, but I could be wrong.
Data collection, difficult job, difficult part. Man,
or just June in general.
maybe June. June's a piece. Other than that, man, I love my job. Like, I won't be doing this for so long, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have slept in gyms and cars and junk like that, and eat ramen noodles forever. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't like it, I didn't love it. And now, I'm one of the top, football programs in the country, and one of the biggest dynasties of all time.
Yeah.
And I can't really complain about anything, So, maybe June is a little much, but I mean, even still, the camaraderie of you're always with your guys, with Coach Blue and the guys we have here, with Dennison, Paul, Constantine and UJ Johnson, man, they're good people, man. And I love hanging out with them. So, and our players and our coaches, stuff like that. So I won't really say even June is, it's tough, but it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
So what's your relationship with Nick Saban been like? You talked a little bit about him, but he just mentioned Alabama's a dynasty. So can you kind of describe working alongside him?
My relationship with him is very limited. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's just because our staff is so big.
You said like a certain job, right? Job.
Lane. I remember Lane Kiffin when he went to FAU. They asked him, "What's a big difference between FAU and in Alabama?" And he said, "Well, I'll put it this way: every day in Alabama, I walked down the halls and I saw somebody I didn't recognize. I never saw him before." And he said that hasn't happened at FAU yet, And it's just that's the thing is Alabama is. And I completely understood what he said because there's all the time I walk by and say, "Is that guy supposed to be here?" Like I've never seen that guy before, So we have so many on staff that we'll have meetings with Coach and we'll have interactions with them, and he'll have one-on-one meetings with me every once in a while. That's rare, but I mean it's like a hierarchy as far as. If he needs something done, he's going to go to Coach Blue, which is our head strength coach, and Coach Blue is going to say, "Here's what you need," and it goes down through there. So I don't have a ton of interaction with a coach, and that's by design. So because, like I said, the staff is so big, it just nothing would get done, with that. But my relationship with him over the years, like I said, very formidable. You know what I'm saying, and just listening to him and like I said, how he developed his process of training football players. It is almost identical. Of course, he's evolved, and people realize that over the years, but it's very, very similar. Like, that process and how he created that and how he did that was something, like I said, was very formidable. And it's how I teach athletes and how I create things and how you try to relate to athletes and help them. So, yeah.
For sure. Do you have any favorite stories or moments at Alabama or LSU that stick out to you?
Favorite stories, favorite moments? Shoot. Well, I mean, I think
the endless championships.
The national championships here. That doesn't suck. I think we won six or seven SEC championships. I know one at LSU. That was a real memorable one because that was my first one, and that's I think where the addiction really started. You know what I'm saying? That first Sugar Bowl. We played the Sugar
Yeah.
Bowl this year, um, and it was literally almost 20 years to the day since I played it with
Uh,
LSU. So yeah, and then right there it was pretty neat little deal. But that first Sugar Bowl was pretty memorable. Um, I remember I remember losing to UAB our first year
oh,
at LSU. Yeah, oh yeah,
oh,
man. Fans throwing things at us, man. I smelled like a brewery. It's getting hit in the head with a full cup of bourbon.
Oh my
Like, as
god.
you're
ooh,
going by, and you just
Mhm.
like doused. Yeah, I mean that was bad. Um, yeah, I remember. Uh, yeah, and it's definitely some memorable stuff. I think more the memories you have are the losses. So not as much the championships or the losses. Those are the ones that sting. Um, when you're here at Alabama, you're you're playing for something. Everybody's playing for something, but like in your mind, every year you're like national championship. That's at the
mhm,
back of your head. And so when you have those losses, they sting and they steam to really you really remember those.
yep.
I think I pretty much remember every single loss we've had here. You
Man.
know,
Not
yeah.
many.
Yeah, well, you can count them all on
No,
your fingers, probably. But
yeah. I don't know how many, but it doesn't go two hands. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
so you just mentioned uh, someone having a bottle thrown at their head. I was wondering if you have any uh, uh, opposing teams, any stadiums that you're like, man, I didn't think it was going to be like this bad or this rowdy or whatever. Is there like a team that sticks out in your mind that had a kind of scary kind of environment at all,
Um,
or like exciting environment?
I would
Whatever.
say, I would say, man, I mean, shoot, LSU is always.
Yeah,
I mean, when we went back there, this year, like that. Those fans are crazy and they're fun. You
yeah.
know, you love them when they're on your side. You know what I'm saying? So kind of like Eagles fans, I guess.
Oh, yep.
But Tennessee was with that place is so loud, man. That was a very loud and raucous environment. And right there, I mean, we played Tennessee uh, for the SEC championship in Atlanta, and that was the old was it Mercedes man or like what that dome was, the old Georgia Dome there in
Oh,
Atlanta.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was loud. Just like everybody was on top of each other, and the roof on top, kept all the noise in. And I remember like you just couldn't hear anything. Like you were like it was just like mouthing things to to the guys and everything. Nobody could hear each other. Your ears rang
Ugh.
for hours afterwards and stuff like that. Yeah, but Brian Denny, man. I mean, you really can't beat Brian Denny, especially the light show and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to throw in a little bit of Penn State here. I know many times after a whiteout game, I've been laying in my bed and my ears have been ringing like the whole night and I can't sleep because my ears. Yeah. So
Right, yeah, yeah. It'll actually keep you up, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You hear this like
Um,
loud ringing in your ears, yeah.
How
pretty sure
dare
that's
you
how.
compare a whiteout to Dixieland Delight, sir? How dare you?
I'm
I
pretty
bet you both
sure.
both are awesome. Yeah, yeah, both are awesome. Yeah.
Pretty sure I still have tinnitus because of Beaver Stadium. So
Oh
I'm gonna
gosh.
I'm gonna blame that
You
on them.
you win.
Yeah. So going more to the player side of things, um, is there anybody that sticks out to you that was like the most college ready player that stepped foot on campus day one, and you're like, dang, like he could. I have a person in my mind that I'm thinking of, and it might
So
be
do
the
I.
same person, but
Man, I would say you have a couple, right in there. Um, I trained him in high school, but DJ Fluker was a guy that was, I mean, he was that big in ninth grade. I'm dead serious. I
yeah,
got pictures. I mean, he was the same size in ninth grade as he is now. You know what I'm saying? 6'5", you know, 325 pounds. He might have gained a little bit of weight, you know. But when he went to college, I mean, you know, no doubt he's going to start as a freshman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's rare. You know, uh, Mika Fitzpatrick was another one that was very, yeah, very. What a great guy. Very, very college ready to go physically, mentally. Do you know what I'm saying? Um, you know, on it. Trying to think, some other guys
I was gonna say
were,
Derrick Henry just because I always see the meme. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but Derrick Henry, it might have been the college championship game. But he's
Yes.
standing right next to Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram.
Who's an amazing player in his
Yeah.
own right, and he makes Mark Ingram look like a high schooler.
he's a monster. Yeah, he was a monster. And the running backs were my guys for, a while. It was one of my responsibilities.
Okay.
And but you got to remember when Derek came in, okay, the running back room, okay,
Loaded.
yeah. I mean, people don't remember that Alvin Kamara was
Yep.
was there. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, absolutely loaded. So T.J. Yeldon, like, the running backs that had there. So per the usual, he didn't, like Coach Saban did with Najee Harris, and a lot of great backs and Josh Jacobs, Damian Harris. You know what I'm saying? Over the years that they had to kind of wait the turn, with it. So was he that ready? Physically, yeah. Maybe it was something else, mentally, and maybe it was just the fact that you have a senior just as good or a junior just as good, and coach is going to reward them for
Yeah.
their hard work and doing things the right way,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's pretty cool that you mentioned DJ Fluker because I think isn't he trying to come back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, he looks amazing.
He looks like a monster. Oh my gosh.
he is
Because he was a
monster.
monster.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest humans. Like, I know he's like only like 6'5", but I mean, that is
Still.
when I say just mass. You know what I'm saying? And and you look at him now, there's not much fat in that dude's body. I mean, just, I don't know what he had on his DEXA scan, like 270 some pounds of lean muscle.
Wow.
Just like lean. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, that's a whole human. That's a large whole human. It's just pure muscle. Jeez.
That would be my whole body weight of just muscle. That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. That's right. Think about that. Yeah.
Man, I need to work out more. Are there any guys that stick out to you as ultimate competitors or like the hardest working guys? I know you've mentioned a few names, but is there anybody that sticks out that you're like, man, like this guy's going places?
Mark Barron was another Mobile kid.
Yes.
Two-time All-American. That was a great competitor. Derrick Henry was a freakishly competitive human. All these guys are. Do you know what I'm saying? But the point of, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can be competitive, but you also got to be disciplined. You know what I'm saying? You can be competitive to where, I want to do this and I want to beat this person. Well, now I got to create a process, right? Like Coach Saban said, I got to create this process. Now I got to be disciplined to make myself do the things that I'm supposed to do throughout this process to do this. Now, you can be highly competitive. That only takes you so far. You know what I'm saying? Talent only takes you so far. But, that discipline, that competitiveness, and that talent jumpstarts you. You know what I'm saying? But that discipline and is the thing that's going to carry you through. And, all those guys that you mentioned, like Derrick Henry, Amari Cooper, you know what I'm saying? Like, those guys, like, Amari Cooper is another highly competitive human, man. Like, that guy was, that's how he's just one of the best route runners. He was the best route runner coming out of college, and now he's one of the best, if not the best route runner in the NFL. He's phenomenal with that, and he's just such a, attention to detail, almost OCD with it. We trained him for the combine. I was working late, and I looked over, and he was trying to sneak past me into the indoor. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Because we trained for 3 hours that day.
Yeah.
And he said, my start doesn't feel right. I'm going to work on some starts. I'm like, no, Like, no, like we're not going to work on some starts. And so he's like, all right, cool, So he heads back to the locker room. Like, I clean everything up, head out to my car, forget something. So I go back in. Doesn't that mofo try to sneak back in and try to work on his starts again? I was like, dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna hurt something. You're fatigued. Shut it down. You know what I'm saying? But like, that competitor, that discipline. You know what I'm saying? He just couldn't let it go. Didn't feel right. And the start doesn't feel right. My stance or whatever it is doesn't feel right. I gotta fix it. I gotta work on it. You know what I'm saying? That OCD pattern. But you can see that when he does routes or that's a championship team in a weight room before they ever win any games, because you obviously see the talent, you know what I'm saying, you see the power, you see the speed, you see all that, right? But you also see the intangibles. Do they show up on time? Do they work their ass off? Are they respectful of each other? And the coaches, do they take coaching? You know what I'm saying? Do they listen? They look at you in the eye, listen, yeah, and then they try to fix it. You're like, okay, not like that. That was better, but a little bit like this. They look at you in the eye and they're quick to make these changes. Well, they're not just going to do that in the weight room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, nobody just loves the weight room that much. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to freaking win. So what that does, that going to carry over into the film room. That's going to carry over the field and different things like that. So you start seeing that in the weight rooms, things like that. So with somebody like Amari Cooper, you don't just sneak in the indoor to work on his starts. He's working on his routes. He's watching film, and somebody like that is that's, like I said, that's that talent, that's that competitiveness, and then that's that discipline, that takes it. And we've been blessed to have a lot of guys like that. It is not really fair for me to point out one or two, but like, as they quickly off of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you involved a lot in preparing guys for the combine? And second part, do you think these drills and tests correlate to production on the field?
The first part, I was more involved a while ago, with it, and I think a lot of guys stayed. We started developing a system to a lot of guys stayed and trained. And it's not like phenomenal, combine prep guy or coach or whatever you want to call him. I don't think I suck. You know what I'm saying? But we have 140-yard indoor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? A lot of these places, these guys go, if it rains, they're on a treadmill. And a curved treadmill is even worse. And that's not the same. You know what I'm saying? The ground doesn't move underneath you. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you got to produce force and things like that. And it's just not the same. Sprinting on a treadmill and sprinting, on the ground is not the same. So if it rains, we have it there. We have the greatest weight room in the world. We have all kinds of crazy technology machines and things like that we already talked about to measure data, or a 1080 sprint machine that we do is like certain dial in the most minute resistances, or assisted. You know what I'm saying? To tow you a little faster than you normally can. We've got massage therapists, we've got doctors, we've got athletic trainers, we've got chefs, we've got, so I look at them and I'm like, why would you go anywhere else? You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. And then some guys are like, coach, I just need a break. I need to get out of here. And I'm like, gotcha. And that makes sense to me. But for a lot of them, like, hey, just, you just stay here. It's free. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I suck as a coach, but I know maybe you could replace me, replicate me, but I know you can't replicate all this and all these other people. Where you're going. So, but when COVID happened, that kind of put a damper on there. You know what I'm saying? With guys staying, literally we didn't have a combine that. Did we have a combine? No, we started to have a combine that year, and we didn't have pro days. Yeah, I think the combine, everything was messed up. I can't remember that 2020 year, but that kind of got the guys and the agents out from keeping the guys at Alabama. We're starting to bring that back a little bit this year. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as much. We've had some success this year, so we'll see what happens next year. With that. As far as the drills and are they applicable? I don't really necessarily know. I think the more we go with the data we have, like GPS, with GPS and a lot of motion capture technology now on the field, you could compare a college wide receiver to an NFL wide receiver exactly. They run a dig route or an out route or, a post or whatever it is. You can see their acceleration, their deceleration, their braking, you know what I'm saying? Then you see it coming out. So, you don't really need a 40 anymore. You know what I'm saying? But before you did, like, I don't have any idea how fast this guy
Yeah.
was. You know what I'm saying? But now you actually know how fast he is, game speed. So now you start to hear, I know everybody's heard in the NFL right now. He hit 22.3 miles an hour. He hit what, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's starting to be a big thing, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see what, the NFL does, because you did also notice they put the 40s at prime time at
Yep.
night, right?
Yep.
That's what people want to watch, you know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
want to watch the 100 in the Olympics, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they want to watch guys run fast, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's money. Do NFL coaches really take a huge stock in it? I don't know, anymore, because of that.
Yeah.
Because you have GPS and things like that. The 5-10-5 and things like that, it's good and whatever, but it is also a pattern run. So in other words, the more times I do it, the faster I'm going to get at it. You know what I'm saying? I guess to a certain extent, you do have to
Yeah.
have power, strength, and flexibility to do some of these numbers, and it is a good thing with that. I'm not huge in the 225 bench test. The vert and the broad are what they are. I think they're good numbers for, lower body power and good ideas. But, once again, like, you could get pretty good ideas on lower body power on, your GPS stuff. So I think the more that goes along, you know what I'm saying? And then, we keeping data, and stuff like that on guys, power numbers that I'm sure we could, share if we needed to, and get ideas, of where they are, strength and power wise and stuff like that. But I'm not saying they're becoming obsolete, but I don't know if the big ones like 40 and stuff like that mean as much as they did before because of the technology.
So I have a subsequent question then. So I know you're probably a big football guy too. Anthony Richardson is the big hot topic right now because his tape is kind of interesting from Florida, but his combine was really good. So if you're looking at that as a strength and conditioning guy, how do you make him look more appealing to these big name NFL people? Because for us, it's very torn as fans because we see, oh, he had such a great combine, and you just said some of that doesn't matter. But then you see the tape and you're like, well, that kind of sucks. So how do you really evaluate some of these guys and communicate with scouts on, where they should be?
For me, that's not really what I do as far as like trying to turn around and like communicate to him, this guy's a great quarterback. I mean, that's one thing that they're going to look at, you know what I'm saying? Does he have the skill set? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My thing is, does he have the physical? You know what I'm saying? What can we do to help him physically optimize? How close can we get him to run it at 100% of his optimal level?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And keep him on the field,
I guess my question was, how do you do that in a combine setting?
As far as like, no, say the question again. As far as like, what do you mean?
Like, how do you show that physicality? Because like the vertical and the broad jump are pretty good because you can get an idea of what he can kind of do in terms of moving his body. But I think we're so stuck on this guy specifically. It doesn't have to be Anthony Richardson. There's always one guy that everybody has questions on because the tape and the combine are just so different. So what level, I guess, is my question. How do you get these guys to perform at 100% at the combine, I guess, to show what they really are?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, you definitely have, as you program out, you know what I'm saying? You're definitely monitoring the volume and intensity of what they're doing, how many throws they're doing, you know what I'm saying? What they're doing with it. And you're going to try to peak them out as far as like dropping the volume and dropping the intensity at the same time, but still keep them sharp. So he's going to look good. He's going to be able to perform well, you know what I'm saying, with it. And that's always tough when, you're working with combine guys and pro day guys, because I monitor, you know what I'm saying, the field stuff. Say if you're a wide receiver, you're running routes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll turn around and have a wide receiver coach work with them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And work with them the routes, things like that. But you got to monitor that amount of running. So
Exactly.
you may have ran, 1,800 yards in routes that day. Well, now tomorrow we're working on, flying 20s, and that's top speed work. And you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do with that? So you have to monitor all that stuff and everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything goes in the same cup. You know what I'm saying? You overflow the
Okay.
cup, you're going to have a problem. So you got to monitor volume and intensity and stuff like that. Start, you taking it down with him as a quarterback. It's even harder because he's running, he's doing a 40, he's doing a 5-10-5, he's doing a vertical, he's throwing footballs. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he obviously is an absolute freak specimen. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why people are enamored with him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I don't know what his height was. It was like around 6'4", and
Hmm.
and 230 something, and ran a 4.4, and I mean, I'm sure handheld it's probably 4.3. You know what I'm saying? That was
Yeah.
a laser time. So that's crazy. His numbers, physically through the roof. Obviously, cannon of an arm. And when you see things like that, like, yeah, you're gonna get some serious interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with it, and NFL guys are gonna wonder, can they, can they turn around and mold him into that next Josh Allen? You know what I'm saying? That big, prototypical quarterback like that. So, with somebody that freakishly athletic, they learn quick. You know what I'm saying? They can just do things that you and I can't. To
Can't.
begin
Yeah.
with. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah. And so they learn pretty quick, and so these guys are enamored, and they think, can we do it? Can we mold him into that? And we'll see. But you have a whole history of successes and fails of that type of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's funny, like what you described about. I mean, you basically you can sum it up by saying the eye and the sky don't lie. Like that's a pretty
Yeah.
famous like tagline to combine
Yeah.
stuff. And like Brad said, his tape is a little all over the place. But yeah, the strength and conditioning coach says, hey, like these numbers are great and stuff, but you can have all these numbers right in front of you. So the combine shouldn't really mean as much as it does. But yet year after year after year, we see these guys do like, crazy things that I feel like most scouts would already know that they're capable of. It's just kind of funny to see that year after year when we know that the tape kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah. And I don't know so much that the first round guys, especially, I'm not so sure if you're a second round guy, you could pull yourself into the first round having a great
Yeah.
combine. I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you're a fourth, can you pull yourself into a high third? Probably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's it's an opportunity too, and they put you through, especially the combine. It's a grueling week, man. Very little sleep and different things, with it. The interviews and the medical prodding and poking and sitting in the hospital for a long time, and like I said, the sleep deprivation and things like that. When this dude runs a 4.43, I mean he's doing that. Probably hasn't hardly eaten all day,
Mm.
hasn't slept for like 6 hours in 2 days. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Yeah.
that's the other thing you take into account. It's pretty freakish stuff,
Right.
Yeah.
So um, that's impressive to do it. And they do it that coaches do it that way on purpose. They want to see, how you do it with a little adversity. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, and I do it too. You spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Just a few more questions and we'll wrap it up. This is kind of my Eagles bias coming in a little bit, but
Oh, here we
we,
go.
we saw Jalen Hurts lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they did come up short, but I was wondering if you could bring any light to A, his 600-pound squat that everybody talked about, and then B, like, did you expect this kind of interacting with him at all? Did you expect to see this out of him in the NFL?
First of all, yeah, the 600-pound squat is legit. He hit that multiple times with us, and then he turned around when he transferred to Oklahoma, hit it again. So that is a definite. He's a very freakishly strong, individual. So that's the thing. And then as far as did I expect it? It didn't surprise me. It did not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I think everything he did, when he was here was handle himself with class. I mean, he's the only freshman quarterback I remember starting for Alabama since I've been here.
Mhm.
And to do that, shoot, let's just be honest, that might have been the only freshman starting quarterback for Coach Saban ever.
And
So
then he blistered USC in that opener.
yeah, right. So I mean, that's a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying, for a freshman to take, and to do the things he did in his career. And then obviously physical talent, like I said, like that's one of the reasons why everybody's so enamored with Anthony Richardson because of who? Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They got this fast, explosive quarterback, and then he learned how to be a pocket passer. We could teach this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it's true or not, like that's Anthony Richardson probably thank Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? For one of those things, or moving him up. Like, well, shoot, he was successful doing this. And get him the weapons, get him some time, things like that. But no, definitely not, man. He's Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal leader. He's one of those guys, a class act. He's always working. He's always studying. So no, it didn't surprise me at all. You know what I'm saying? That happened for him.
So what you're saying is the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl next year, right? That's what you're saying.
Shoot, man, I really hope so. I'm an Eagles guy. You know what I'm saying? Now we finally got some Eagles, some Bama players up there to get
finally
it right,
after 10
for the
years.
longest time, like right. They
Like,
what
are you
any
doing?
Bama players. Now, and all of a sudden, That's all right. We got some of the Steelers over there. Are you a Steelers fan?
No, I'm a Ravens fan. I'm worse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, ears perk up when we mentioned Mika, said I wasn't sure, so yeah.
But I follow all my Alabama guys. It's hard because I didn't have an NFL team forever because Minka plays here. Greg McElroy plays here. Mark Ingram played there. Derrick Henry plays here. So I just had to watch every game for everybody. It was hard. It was really hard. Yeah.
That is the fun thing watching the NFL is like, you start watching, we all watch our guys like, so and so went off today, and start watching them, and that's fun. That is fun.
Yeah. So last question here. You've talked a lot about just Alabama as a whole, the dynasty, how everybody has a specific role, and they're so good at it. Do you think there is an overarching reason why you and Alabama have been so successful the last 15 years?
I mean, Nick Saban, I think that's pretty,
yeah,
pretty self-explanatory. I mean, there's everything, the attention to detail and everything we do, whether it's cleaning floors or cleaning, the weight room, or how it's handled in recruiting or academics, or I mean, it's just like I said, like there's an attention to detail and a process for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do there, and that's the man who oversees it. You know what I'm saying? And gets it rolling. So, is there a reason? Like, and I said this a lot of times. Winning isn't rocket science. It's just hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people know how to win. They just can't make themselves do it. They can't make themselves day in, day in, day in, day out, day in, week out, month in, month out, do the things that it takes to win. And that's including life, man. That's including being a CEO of a company, being a teacher, being whatever, especially whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Can you day in, day out keep that intensity? You know what I'm saying? That attention to detail, that competitive spirit, that discipline. You know what I'm saying? Can you keep it to learn how to win? Winning isn't rocket science. It's just hard to do. Most people cannot do that. You know what I'm saying? Most people cannot do that. Coach Saban can. He's an absolute machine, and he's surrounded himself with a lot of like-minded people. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're not like-minded on that, you're not going to be here long. You know what I'm saying? If you don't love it, other than my family, Alabama football, is just the thing I love the most in my life. You know what I'm saying? And you dedicate so much time to it, and they're my family. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't look at that and see that opportunity you have there and work your freaking behind off, then like I said, you're not gonna be here very long. So
Yeah.
Coach Saban, I think, instills that to you, but I think you also find other people are like-minded who want to embrace that culture. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So that's the reason 15 years, is that man and the idea that and the culture that he's spread.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot so far. So thank you, Jason, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It was awesome to hear from you. And do you have another question, Brad?
No, if I come down to Alabama, Texas, can I say hi?
Dude, 100%. Yeah, you already know. We're about ready to put in a new weight room here. Shoot, it's gonna be starting at the end of this month, so you gotta go check that joker out. It's gonna be
Sweet.
it's gonna be something the world's never seen before. We'll put it that way. Yeah. So come down, check it out, man. Brian
Sure.
Denny's awesome.
I loved
Tuscaloosa
it.
is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Have you been to a game before?
Just one last season, the home opener against Utah State.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
shoot. Why don't you guys stop say hi back then?
Blame him.
Dude, right? Come on, man. So yeah.
Listen, I can't get down to Alabama. I got a good stadium a couple hours away.
No, baby, you got to try Bryant Denny.
Now, listen, man. Listen. I'm not knocking. Beaver Stadium, like it is amazing, and granted, it is unbelievable. But I think you need to, if you're a true football fan, you need to do a little, stadium tour. You know what I'm saying? You need to, you know what I'm saying? In the podcast, I think that, you could figure out something with that. Is business expense or something like that. I'm sure the wives would understand.
Yeah. All right, Nick Saban, get me on the field.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was super fun, and
awesome.
Yeah, have a good night and roll Tide.
Yeah. Oh, he said it. Guys. Roll Tide. Yes.
It took me a while to say it too, bro. Roll Tide, gentlemen. Roll Tide.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Bye.
All right.
Was so cool.
That was awesome, man. Definitely learned a lot and different perspective on kind of what players go through on a day-to-day basis, what these coaches go through on a day-to-day basis. I mean, the things that stick out to me were like the attention to detail. You kind of knew Nick Saban was like that, but to get like everybody like him in that dynasty, everybody like him in that organization, to do that on a daily basis, that's kind of what stuck out to me. I don't know if anything else stuck out to you, but
I was just amazed that I was talking to somebody at Alabama. It surprised me. DJ Fluker, Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's going to stick in my head for a while because those dudes were legit. Minkah for sure. I mean, everybody knows that. Look at him as a Steeler. He is absolutely one of the key parts to that defense.
Mm-hmm. Amari Cooper makes a lot of sense too, just because he is such a technical route runner, right? And the attention to detail too. Like that makes a lot of sense. So you're definitely, more often than not, you're going to get someone from Alabama that is so good at their craft. You know what I mean? Like you said, if you don't fall in line with Saban, like his way of doing things, you're probably not going to play. So like if you're playing, you're doing well, more likely than not, you have incredible attention to detail, incredible skills, and you're working your butt off. So
absolutely.
So draft the guy from Alabama is what I'm saying. You probably won't be
disappointed.
So we'll run some ads here quick, and then we'll come back with what we got coming up.
Fresh Cuts is our amazing sponsor who has been with us since 2020. Fresh Cuts is the local barbershop hangout in Marion, Indiana. If you're looking for a full-service barber with excellent cuts and a welcoming atmosphere, contact Caleb Kemper for an appointment time through www.freshcutsbarbershop.com. Mondays are the best days to get in, although he has plenty of time slots available. And if you happen to miss us live, you'll be hearing us in the shop while you enjoy your fresh cut. Slide on by to Fresh Cuts to pick up some stylish footwear with Caleb's Fresh Kicks collection. From Nike to Jordans, he offers the best price for quality kicks. And if you don't find what you like, Caleb offers custom work for $250. Stop over to 1224 North Baldwin Ave in Marion to pick up yours today, or Caleb also ships all over the U.S. Message him for prices and sizes. Our other people we sponsor, Steve Wood Illustrations and Ronald Morell for Mayor, check out their respective pages on Facebook. And our other friends at other podcasts, the Culture Corner podcast, 1,000 Wives of Weird, and Rules of the Frame. Check them out on their respective platforms listed below.
Welcome back. So, last thing before we end this, we do have a live mock draft coming up on April 12th and April 26th and 26th. And those will probably both be at 7:30 or 7 Eastern time. So we have a lot of teams left, a lot of teams available. Give us a shout out. Message us on Facebook or Twitter, or text us if you have our number, whatever. Just let us know, and we can get you locked in with your team, and you can be on our podcast, make your pick. It's a super fun experience. I always love doing it. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So
that being said, we probably won't do an episode before then. We might just take it easy until the live mock draft. That's going to be a whole party. Hopefully you guys can get there. If not, you can watch. We've revamped it. It looks really nice this year. I have one more announcement for you before we leave. We're going to go ahead and play a game. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. All you little smart fishies on Twitter, go ahead and start figuring out who this is. But we already have a special guest lined up for this summer, a fantasy football analyst. That's it. That's your clue. Your clue is this and that. But he will be joining us, and we will be doing a fantasy mock draft to get you ready for the next season, as well as some fantasy football breakouts to get you started so that you can start preparing your stuff for the season. But for now, go ahead and see if you can figure out who this is. Tag us on Twitter at Jocks Podcast and let us know if you know who it is. If you do, I'm going to delete your comment so nobody else knows. But you'll know that you got it right, and that's the fun of the game. But all that being said, thank you so much for joining us for this. My mind is still like doing this because I just talked to somebody from Alabama. So I'm going to ride that high for a little bit. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jason, for joining us. I know he can't hear us. Hopefully he'll go back and listen and realize that we're really cool. But thanks, Kyle, for getting that connection for us. That was really cool. And as usual, thank you all for your support. Like, subscribe, share. Let us know what you want to see or hear next. And we'll see you on the 12th. Bye, guys.
See ya.